Hey everybody, it's Janice with Creating Through Chaos. So the first thing I'm going to do is paint my scrap wood just on the front with the white paint. I did 2 coats on that just to make sure it had a good coverage. Next I'm going to take and paint the sides and the back of the piece of wood with the red paint that I had. Now that it's finished drying, I did the sides and the back red and the front white. I'm going to add a coat of Mod Podge to the white side, and I'm going to allow that to dry because we're going to use the iron method for Mod Podging our napkin on. So once it was dry, I am going to lay down the green checked pattern onto the white side, and then I am going to use my iron and attach that to my scrap wood. Once I had that all attached, I'm going to sand off the edges and the excess of the napkin. Finished sanding, I'm going to take the other part of my napkin with the watermelon on it, and I'm going to take my scissors and just cut out that watermelon shape. So I cut around it at first so I could work with it so it was a little easier to work with. And then I'm just going to cut the watermelon out. Once I had the watermelon all cut out, I'm going to add some Mod Podge on top of the checkered paper that we already laid down. And I'm just going to add that right on top, and then I'm going to lay my watermelon down on top of that, and then I'm just going to use my iron to attach it. And how stinking cute is that with the watermelon attached? Next, I'm going to take those letters that I was telling you about. And they're just metal letters, and they have holes in the top of each one. I believe they were for scrapbooking, but like I said, I got them at a thrift store, so I'm not exactly sure what they were used for. They came in a box that had no label or anything. So I'm just going to take some twine, and I'm going to run my letters through the twine so that they hang off of the twine. And I'm going to spell out the word summer, and I'm going to attach that to the top of my little shelf sitter. Once I have all the letters strung up, I'm going to take my staple gun and I'm going to staple gun my twine to either side of the sign. And this is just going to hold that on there. And then I'm going to tie a knot in the twine just to make sure that it doesn't pull through the staple at all. So I'm just going to tie a little knot and make sure that it's secure. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And how super cute is this? I'm just going to kind of adjust the letters to make sure that they're all facing the right way. And now it's time to make a messy bow. So I had all of these ribbons that I showed you at the beginning, some pom-poms, all different colors. I did some green, some black and white, some white sheer ribbon, some red and white ribbon, then some green pom-poms and some white pom-poms. And I'm just gonna lay them all in an X shape, and then I'm gonna tie them off with a piece of twine. And then I am going to trim it all down and get it to look exactly how I wanted it to look. So when you make one of these messy bows, you kind of have to trim it up after and get it to look exactly how you want and the length that you want. Once I have it all trimmed and looking how I want, and I think it just turned out super cute, I'm going to hot glue that right to the top of our little shelf sitter. So I'm just going to add some hot glue, and then I'm going to attach the bow. And I thought it looked cute as is, but I decided that I needed something a little extra. So I took a button that I had on hand and I just hot glued that right to the center of the bow. And I think it just added the perfect final touch. And I think this just turned out so super cute. It would look amazing on a tiered tray or just sitting on a shelf. I absolutely love it, and I think it just screams summer. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspires you to make one. And as always, don't forget to spread the chaos.